Split screen. Yo, take a look at the screen right now, Skags. Like on the actual video itself. And then talk to see if we can hear you.
Hold on. I was muted. That should be good now.
Yeah, see, people can.
Although it's not telling me you're live.
Yeah, just go right to my page. Just.
Yeah, I'm on your page.
Oh no, I'm definitely live. We got 30 people in the chat in the family with us today. What's going on, family? How are you guys doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's stream. Super excited to be here with every single one of y'all today. We do have data coming out in literally about 12 minutes, and that's pretty much what we're here for today. And we're going to definitely break that stuff down, guys. Just give us a few minutes because I'm actually in the process of figuring out ways to actually get guests on here so that we can really turn up on these sessions and turn up on these streams as a whole. All right, so just give us a couple minutes, family, and we'll get this thing started. Let's see. Yeah, see, I just don't know if they could hear you. All right, say something in your mic, bro.
Yo, testing.
Let me see.
I don't have the string. Is not. YouTube literally refuses to tell me to fill out right now. So.
Yeah, see, it's not coming out through the actual speaker here. Let me see. Just give us 1 second, family. We know you guys are excited. Excited to get to the bag. Excited to learn some new stuff. Excited to see how the markets overall are going to react. Let's just see if we can get this situated. He's kind of low, and there's an echo from your voice, an echo from my voice. Interesting. All right, let's see. What's going on, family? Can you guys hear me? You guys can hear me now, right? You guys should be able to hear me loud and clear. Let's see. Can you guys hear him? Skags, do another testing.
Yo, good morning, family.
How does it sound over there on Skag's side, guys? I know you guys can probably hear me now because I have my mic muted, but how does Skag sounds now? We're good to go. Loud and clear, loading clear. Let's get it. Sounds great. Good on both ends. All right, so we are good to go, man. Let me just go ahead and close my door. Skags, if you want to actually go ahead and just introduce yourself to the familia, bro, for everybody that don't know, and then we can get right into it. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are more than anything, Skag. So, bro, you can get right into it, bro, and really just break down the markets, break down the data, and give us your opinions on what you think can happen, and I'll do the same exact thing.
Cool. Are we live? Like, am I on screen? Like, the charts are on screen?
Yeah. It's split screen right now, so they can see me on one screen and then your chart on the other screen. But you're good to go.
Lit.
I'll put it directly.
What's good, family?
Yeah.
Good morning.
It's directly on you now, by the way.
It's directly on me? Yeah, good morning, fam. I will ask Skag. That's what I'm not sure if you like. Literally at by Skag, UISDAG. I've been trading with Abel now for probably it's been close to 7 years. We trade kind of similar. I trade through a White Wolf and Smart Money Top exercise trading. Yeah, man, we're really here just to kind of provide you guys value. We have a CPI coming up, or not CPI was yesterday. We have PPI today coming up in about 9 minutes. Yeah, we're just taking a look at these markets, seeing if these things want to continue on the US dollar correction. As you guys know, yesterday CPI here will be more data around that. So we will know whether or not production costs are continuing to decrease, and that could just give us more confidence that, again, that the US dollar is in a little bit of a broader pullback. And then maybe the Fed in the future will have to make some adjustments to its plan. Yeah, we'll get more on that in about 8 minutes. We'll walk you guys through our thought process. I do expect PPI to come out lower. The big question of the day is how much of that information is already priced into the market, right? Because with CPI yesterday and PPI today, there's probably a lot of people that were trading off the idea that PPI was already going to come out. Um, on the downside today, kind of trading in the rumors of things. That's kind of where I delve in.
I
I
love
love
rumors. I
rumors.
love
I love
playing
playing
stuff
stuff
before it
before it
comes
comes
out.
out.
So you
So
guys
you
can
guys
already
can already
see,
see,
things like
things like
UJ are just
UJ are just
absolutely
absolutely
tanking this
tanking this
morning.
morning.
Again, in
Again, in
preparation.
preparation for the news. So we're kind of just going to see what we get here, whether we're going to get just really harsh continuations, or if maybe once the result comes out, some of this stuff leans off the gas, and maybe some of this stuff holds. I don't know if Abel wants to get into actual chart analysis beforehand, but we are about 7 minutes out here. And actually, I just really quickly want to invite my people onto this call as well. Give me 1 second, guys.
Yeah, they're saying that you are coming out a little bit on the low end, um, but they could still hear
Okay,
you. It's
guys, how about
just
now? Is this better? I turned off my filter. Let me know. Let me know if this is any better, guys.
yes, sounds a little bit louder now, but it's up to them. What do you
Yeah, I
guys?
turned off my filter.
All right, what do you guys think, family? Does it sound a little bit clearer, a little bit louder? I know it sounds a little muffled because even on my end, when I look at it on my phone, it does sound a little muffled as well. Let's see. He's distant and muffled. Yeah, I got to figure out how we can actually connect your mic to this whole system and run it that way. Let's see. It's alright. It's light. Could be clear. I appreciate y'all, man, for just rocking with us as we figure this out. This a little muffled, but I can hear. Had it, but there was an echo. There's a little bit of an echo, but can still hear. Okay.
Yeah, if there's an echo now, it's because I turned off my filter.
Hold on.
But if you
This.
guys can hear me better, it might be a fair enough trade-off. I could also just scream if you guys if you guys need me to.
Yeah, because it's sounding like Hold on. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, it's still coming out a little muffled. Either way, though, family, we're gonna get through this, and like I said, next time we do a combined session where we have more than one person speaking, it will definitely be finished and it will be fixed and it will be sounding absolutely to perfection, right? But overall, again, we are literally 5 minutes away from the actual release of data. Let me actually go ahead and bring my face back on the screen really quickly. And let me actually go ahead and show you guys just a quick look at the actual calendar. Right, shout out to our newest subscriber. What's going on, Safe Haven? Shout out to you. I appreciate you, right, for rocking with us. Shout out to, I'm going to completely butcher your name, so shout out to you for being our newest subscriber. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So, guys, just a quick heads up. The data that we're about to trade right now, or that we're at least about to just watch, right? We don't know if we're actually going to take any trades. It really depends on how it comes out. But overall, we're really going to be paying attention to PPI, core PPI, and then the initial jobless claims overall. Now, Skaggs, what do you think PPI is going to do, right? Do you think this is going to come out right as forecasted, or what do you think PPI is going to come out, especially seeing how CPI just came out?
I mean, what were we talking about, core or regular?
I mean, we could do both.
So let me see. Core is supposed to come out at 7.6. I mean, to be honest with you, CPI came out worse than expected, which was a surprise to me, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this come out right at 7.6. Or if we're looking at the standard PPI year over year, that 10.4, 10.5 number probably seems pretty accurate. Again, with the price of oil and gas kind of dipping down, so I mean, a lot of that is built into production costs. So I wouldn't be surprised if these come out as expected here.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm leaning towards too. I mean, right now, just from a month to month perspective, they're expecting a pretty big drop over here in regular PPI as a whole. And just for those of you guys that don't know what PPI is, guys, right? It's just a tool that measures inflation from the producer standpoint, right? So, anybody that's an entrepreneur and you see the cost of goods and services for you to operate business has increased over the past year, this is pretty much that one index that actually measures the change in that price of goods and services, right? So, consumers don't just experience inflation, but even business owners too, right? Honestly, it starts from the entrepreneurship level, right? It starts from them having to start a raise price for whatever reason, and it leads into consumers having to spend more overall as well, right? So definitely a major news release, guys, that again a lot of traders and investors are probably going to be keeping their eyes on just to see exactly what actually happens there. Now, another one as well is the initial jobless claims. This is something that actually comes out weekly, and it just gives us a forecast on pretty much how the jobs market is looking from a week-to-week perspective, how many people are actually filing for unemployment for the first time. And this is definitely something that, again, a lot of traders and investors are definitely keeping their eye on, guys, especially with this whole talk of recession and the Fed pretty much trying to downplay the recession, and they're pretty much just relying on a strong pretty much job market, which again we do still technically have very, very low unemployment over here in the US. So they're pretty much just relying on that to keep us out of the recession. So yeah, this is definitely something that we got to keep our eyes on overall. Like I've been telling you guys, I just been expecting this number to continue to increase, and it has been doing just that. We are less than a minute away, by the way, to news, guys. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, we literally have been seeing more and more people literally file for unemployment every single month, right? Like every single week, actually. It's just been going higher and higher and higher, right? And I think that there is a good chance that we continue to see this occur, even though we had a very strong NFP, right, where we actually added 500,000 new people to the workforce, beat expectations tremendously. I still think eventually we're still going to experience just a lot of people actually getting unemployed. All right, that's just my opinion, guys. But we are literally less than a minute away from less than 10 seconds away, right? So, Skaggs, you got any thoughts on what we're looking at here, bro? I'm actually going to go ahead and share your screen.
I mean, I'm looking at UJ here, but the numbers did just come out. So, family, we got PPI. Yeah, these came out. Wow, these came out awful.
Oh,
awful,
my God.
I mean, technically speaking, good for just overall the U.S., but as expected, they came out much, much lower.
Oh my God. Yeah, let me show you guys what this came out as. Look at this, guys. Right, core PPI came out at 0.2%, lower than projections. Regular PPI, and again, this is from a month-to-month perspective. Right, from month-to-month perspective, guys, even regular PPI, we actually came out negative. All right, we actually came out at negative 0.5% for the month. And yeah, this is a major, major miss, guys, right? And this is actually how can we, it's bad, but it's also technically good just for current market conditions as a whole, because we want to see these things go backwards, right? We want to see PPI and CPI numbers start to decrease, right? Which is telling us that inflation is potentially starting to get under control, right? So this itself is technically could be looked at that we might have found an inflection point with inflation from a producer standpoint, especially looking at it from the month-to-month perspective, where we actually had a major, major miss in what these economists are forecasting. This could potentially bring some volatility to the markets, and it definitely could bring some optimism to the markets, at least from a producer standpoint, and how we can approach the markets overall, right? So let me just see what the markets are doing. Again, we are losing strength right here in the dollar index. That is expected. Remember, guys, right, whenever there is something that could bring optimism, a release that could bring an optimism, it could cause the dollar to lose value, right? It could cause the dollar to actually start to, become a little bit weaker overall. So that's just something to keep in mind. Right now, the question is this actually going to hold, right? Or was it already priced in, right, with last CPI reading that we just had? Because that's also something that I'm also getting a lot better in, is really trying to understand, guys, when certain data is actually priced in and when there's still opportunities to take advantage of the data as it gets released, right? Because yeah, most of the time, for the most part, a lot of this data is usually priced into the markets well before the actual release. But there are certain releases, right, like a CPI, that for the most part you'll still be able to trade off of the actual release itself, because again, whatever CPI, PPI does right now, it definitely has the ability to absolutely shake these markets as a whole. Right, so as of right now, all we've seen is just a little bit of, we didn't even see nothing crazy at all, right? Like nothing at all crazy, like at all, right? But we are seeing short-term dollar weakness right now off of the actual data. Initial jobless claims actually did come out higher. I actually came out lower than what was forecasted, but it did come out higher than what the previous number was last week. So we still are seeing an increase of people filing for unemployment for the first time. And that itself can also typically during or during normal market conditions, when we're not dealing with inflation and all these different factors, typically when we see this actually do this is usually not good, right? When we are seeing more and more people filing for unemployment, that is not a good thing, right? Because in order for us to keep this economy strong, consumer spending is a very big part of keeping this economy strong. So if we're experiencing more and more people filing for unemployment, that means they're not working, they're not getting jobs, they're not getting paid. Less spending could occur overall. But again, market conditions definitely make a difference here. Because we are experiencing inflation, because the whole objective of the Federal Reserve is to try to slow down inflation, and they're doing that by raising interest rates and so on and so forth, this is actually could be looked at as a good thing, right? Again, it really depends on market conditions as a whole. Because of the state of the market right now, we don't want to see people get jobs, right? Which is why last week's NFP release, where there was a major beat in projections, that was a shocker, right? That was a shocker for me, and it was a shocker for the market as a whole. But right now, we want to see more people get unemployed. Unfortunately, it sounds crazy, it sounds bad, and I feel sorry for any of you guys that might have been impacted or might eventually get impacted by this. But this is literally what we want to see, right? We want to see this number start to increase, because less spending will happen, which will initially or eventually cause, inflation to finally really turn around. But I actually, and Skaggs, I want your opinion on this too, bro. Like, I was actually reading a report, or I watched a video yesterday, and they actually talked about I forgot who the guy was, right? But he was like one of the heads over there at the St. Louis Fed department, and he was pretty much still saying, even though we did find like a little inflation in CPI, where we finally peaked down a little bit, he still said that their goal of raising rates to 3% by the end of this year and 4% by next year, they said that they're still planning on doing that 1,000%, right? They have no intentions on trying to slow down right now. They have no intentions on trying to stop hiking rates. Their goal is to still go ahead and continue to hike rates. Now, the question that I have for you, Skaggs, right, is what do you think your opinions are when it comes to the next Fed decision, the next interest rate decision? Do you think that they're going to continue with the 75 basis points now, or do you think there's a good chance that they actually say, no, we're going to start lowering it and say raising it 50 basis points? What do you think on that?
So for one, I took a little long on you, Jay. Just a full disclosure for my people that are on here, because this news is seemingly a lot priced in. Now about the Fed, I feel like the Fed is going to look at this decrease in CPI and PPI as as proof that their plan is working.
Mm-hmm.
So again, with their target inflation being about 2%, I think is still the target. Maybe it's a little higher, but I'm pretty sure it's about 2%. With that inflationary target of 2%, they're going to see this as a win, that the plan is working, and they will probably remain committed to 75 basis points, at least for the next hike. I don't believe, at this point, they have no reason to get more aggressive, because what they're doing is, potentially working here. So I think we get another 75 basis point, and I think what they really do is when they start talking about their outlook and what they're looking to do going forward, that they're a little bit more lenient on that, and you might even hear them thinking that, a return down to 50 basis point might be a good idea, but hikes are still definitely in the future. Just because we've had a small turn in inflation, they can't let off the gas. They can't just, jump into that. If they start lowering how much they're doing in terms of basis point hikes, they're gonna inflation can easily come back, right? If they let off the gas, if they drop down to 50 basis points, right? If they don't continue with their plan, there's a good chance that that inflation does come back into the market. So they gotta remain aggressive at least for a little bit more here just to kind of solidify it. But it does seem like this PPI news again was mostly priced in. You get the spike down because results are worse than expected. I have taken a few positions on UJ, basically just risking to the low of PPI. If we wipe this move, I'm not trying to be in this market anymore. But it seems like a lot of this is priced in, and I'm looking to trade against that, personally. Again, everybody on the call, you guys can do whatever you want. This is not me. I'm just being transparent on what I'm specifically doing today.
So what do you think about that 3-minute OB? You think that 3-minute OB is valid?
On UJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the downside is, like, this is a lot of pips. So people probably looking at this to probably like, oh man, I gotta risk however many pips this might be. Just like a 50 pip move. Yeah, man, I think I want to see how this 15-minute closes. For me, it's more about the 15-minute OB that's forming here. If you guys can see my screen.
Yeah,
For me, it's more about that, not really the 3-minute. If we return back below this point here on the 15, this 15-minute goes back bearish. Probably not wise to stay in. So I want to see the 15-minute close, and then like this becomes what's considered my protected price action. That we shouldn't really return back below it. Well, you might play into this wick a little bit, but typically speaking, if we break back below this, the open of this candle, you probably don't want to be in.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on that one for sure as well. We do have really 5 minutes, a little over 5 minutes for this 15-minute candle to close. But this is what we're talking about, guys, in terms of like understanding when data is actually priced in and when it's not, right? Based off this type of release, normally we should have seen the dollar absolutely like just continue to fall, right? Because this is data that's going to more so bring optimism, like I said. And whenever there's optimism in the markets, because it seems like the Fed, whatever the Fed is doing, is actually working. Whenever we have that type of a sentiment overall, that does not benefit the dollar, right? That actually causes the dollar to lose value. And the reason for that is because now a lot of traders and investors across the world, based off that actual data, they have a little bit of hopium in their body, right? They're like, oh man, here we go. We could have finally found a low. So let's go ahead and take some of this cash that we've been sitting on, liquidate this cash, and go ahead and get into some riskier assets. So that's pretty much the play that should have happened. But just based on how we're literally reacting in the markets right now, how we seen an initial spike down overall, but now the market has ultimately rebound. Now we could really pretty much just come to the idea that, yeah, maybe this might have been priced in, right? Maybe it was, this drop right here was, traders and investors pretty much betting that PPI was going to come out the way that it came out as, right? So, again, being able to really understand that can definitely help you out tremendously, guys, in this game overall. You guys know me, especially anybody that's been really rocking with me on these live sessions, these live streams. I'm very big on understanding fundamental and sentimental analysis. I truly believe that that's probably the most important thing to really learn as a trader overall, is to understand overall order flow and market direction, not just from a technical perspective, but from a macro perspective, right? Understanding the data and what the data is telling you. But we also have to, again, keep in mind that a lot of this data typically does get priced in. So you want to start playing the rumors off what the data could be, to try to position yourselves ahead of the time, right? But overall, yeah, we're really not seeing nothing too crazy. Like the dollar hasn't really done much at all. Like literally, like this is a small time frame, by the way, right? We're on a 5-minute, 3-minute time frame. Actually, let me show you guys where I'm at. So we're on like the 5-minute, 3-minute time frame right here, right? So it's not crazy whatsoever at all, right? There's not that much volume, not that much volatility. Obviously, things could change once New York session officially opens in about an hour. But as of right now, we're not really getting too much of a reaction, right? Even the indices overall, like they gave a little bit of a jump up, but then it pretty much didn't do much right after, all right? It's pretty much not reacting as aggressively to this data. So it's one of these things where we just got to be patient now and see, figure out an opportunity that makes sense overall based on the data and based on what we believe can actually happen, right? So Really not seeing too much though, guys. This data release itself is definitely not as aggressive as the last one, CPI was, but again, it could be expected anyways. All right, but what are your thoughts over there, Skies? What are you thinking, bro?
Yeah, it's definitely a low volume morning. Um, I mean, things could still continue down, like you said. We still have the open. Again, this candle could still close to the downside, and then I'll probably have to rethink, my positions. I mean, I'm not even in the market with too much risk. It's like literally less than half of a 1%. So if I do have to exit here, I'm not too concerned. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that this has done a whopping nothing here. So again, a lot of this being priced in. Gold looks really good. Would have preferred to see this test a little bit higher, but nonetheless, still reacting as kind of expected. Yeah, man. So I don't know. We'll see in a minute 46 here. About a minute, 2 minutes. See how this 15-minute closes again. Not really. Listen, it's not weak, but it's not strong either. And sometimes when you're getting an environment like this, the best thing to do is just nothing, right? Sometimes the best trade is no trade. The best trade is just sitting there, letting the market do what it wants to do. Um, yeah, I don't really see any reason to be wildly concerned. I mean, on UJ, just to give you guys like a technical breakdown, because this does have a lot of reason to still fall. For people that trade with, smart money concepts. Um, you guys have a lot of inefficiency or imbalance or fair value gap or clean traffic, as Abel called it, still below these lows, right? This entire move here basically talking about how, price is not retested in here. For people that trade off like order block logic, you might even consider this, a valid OB. There's just like a lot of reason why you would believe that, again, this US dollar will continue to kind of fall off and easily fill some of these areas. But at the same time, again, the power is not really there. So I might just be on the sidelines for most of today, to be honest with you, and seeing if some of this stuff wants to fill out into the open, maybe. Yeah, because it looks like everything across the board is, yeah, turning around already.
Let's see. Let's see what we got. Very interesting release though. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, the release, in terms of the macro, the release is very important, because this will absolutely influence the Fed, their path into 2023.
Yep.
Yeah, this 15-minute could not close up, so we might mess around all day, to be quite honest with you guys. Where was that 3-minute order block at? Yeah, we're already in the middle of that. That's not gonna hold.
You don't think that will hold? No faith?
The way I play order blocks, this thing is already mostly invalidated.
You normally want to see what a
I know
reaction.
a lot of people play the logic like the middle of the order block. I play the top, because if it is going to provide demand, usually you're going to see that right away. When it slices through like this and plays with the bottom of the candle, 9 out of 10 times it's a dud.
Okay. Well, what about the 1 minute? Take a look at that 1 minute. What about that last bearish candle down there? You think there's a chance?
That's not a valid order block. It didn't engulf.
Yeah, it didn't engulf completely, but
I mean, like, can it still hold? Yeah, sure. I mean, anything can happen, but is it like my preferred thing to see? No. Um, and again, like, you're technically against fundamentals if you're buying this. So
that is true.
the only reason I did originally go in for a position, which I'm now out of, but is there's a POI candle that I use, like basically this candle here. is a candle that I frequently play when it gets erased. So the fact that it tested below this candle was interesting to me. But again, if it's not going to hold, it's not going to hold. Yeah, see, look, you're gonna rip through all that nonsense. That's all she could produce.
Interesting. Very freaking interesting. Okay, so if this does continue bearish, it's pretty much
Yeah,
a
it's gonna just fill all of this.
yeah. I mean, it is aligning with what I pretty much told everybody last night on last night's stream. That for right now, I'm just expecting more weakness in the dollar overall, just based off the data itself. And just PPI just continued to pretty much agree with what I thought as well. So overall, last night I was looking for UJ. I wanted to see a pullback. Let me actually go ahead and share my screen real quick. I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to initially see a pullback here for UJ back up to around 134. But prices did not reach up there. But then I wanted to see it come all the way down to around the 131 level, come back down and retest these lows. So that was my initial thought on UJ. Overall, like I said, I didn't get no entry overall because it just didn't reach where I wanted it to. But again, the data is technically pointing, towards dollar weakness. Right? It's just a fact. It really is. So that's how I pretty much want to continue to position myself. Right? So again, very simple, guys. I like to educate just because I want you guys to all be aware. But yeah, we could experience, some more short-term dollar weakness overall, right? When we are experiencing things like dollar weakness, asset or currency pairs that begin in USD usually actually go to the downside, right? They lose value like USD/JPY, right? Whenever we are experiencing dollar weakness, UJ should drop in value. And again, this is very basic information, but we have a lot of people that are always newer to these sessions, so I like to just reiterate the this fact right here of understanding correlations and stuff, right? But yeah, dollar weakness, guys, right? Again, this is pretty much how we could play it. If it begins in USD, like USD/JPY, USD Swiss, USD CAD, we're gonna expect that chart to actually go bearish. If it ends in USD, right? Euro USD, GBP USD, AUD USD, NZD USD, so on and so forth. We should expect those actual charts to increase in value. Okay. So that's just a very general way of understanding it, very general way of looking at it. And that's really just using sentiment overall to try to figure out bias as in the markets. But like, look at what UJ is doing now. Like, this market is literally indecisive. It really doesn't know what it wants to do.
Yeah, she's just playing both sides. And again, like it's expected data, so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm be honest.
The order flow is gonna continue bearish, but you will see, and what you're seeing is not always specifically buying as much as it could just be profit taking. Now that the news is out, people could just be scaling out of positions, which is why you get those little wicks because people are just, if you're in a sell, the way you close your sells, you have to exit by buying back.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you see down here is honestly just potential profit taking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the big question is how the Fed is gonna receive this data. Somebody asked dollar correction time. I mean, the dollar has been correcting. It's not definitely not new. What I'm actually really mad about is like you could have played the rumor on this all night long. Right up from the supply. Very easy, low risk stuff.
Yeah. Let's see where you at. So your main focus is literally just UJ this morning?
I mean, I have other interests. I have gold that I'm still waiting on, But again, with this news, it doesn't look like any of this stuff wants to play in my preferred direction, which has been the trend all week, unfortunately.
It's definitely been a very interesting week overall. Definitely been a very interesting week for
A lot
sure.
of people want us to look at Nasdaq. Um, yeah, I mean that just continues to push higher, guys. And also my people, you guys know we don't trade the Nasdaq until the open anyway, so we're not specifically too concerned with what it's doing right now. But yeah, until we see sellers step in this market or it corrected enough for us to buy it, we can't play this. Like I wasn't gonna be buying this thing up here, but I would be interested to see, again, if sellers can step in at any point and come capture liquidity below this obvious trend line here, we'll begin to play it. But I'm not really looking to touch the Nasdaq today, or much of anything, to be quite honest with you. Only things that are on my radar is UJ and gold.
UJ and gold. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking too
Like
at a.
gold, I would like to see above here. I want to see what it does up here. Once it comes and fills this inefficiency here, we'll take a look at it.
What do you think the reaction gonna be though? Bearish or bullish? Like, what are you leaning towards?
I mean, if I'm looking at a liquidity pocket like this, I typically want to trade it to the downside because it provides, a better risk to reward. Like it takes this high but holds structure, and then you can move it to the downside. This is also like some of the only. I mean, there is it's little inefficiencies up here, but this would close all the inefficiencies and then maybe allow price to move down.
Okay.
But yeah, we're looking at gold with a very bearish kind of bias. Um, Unlike UJ, this is actually kind of holding within structure. So a big thing that I use, guys, is volume. And the first thing that I'm going to note is that like this move that we're currently getting is happening on lower volume than we had the last time we created a high. So this is like some price action to volume divergence, which is, basically a focus of mine. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if maybe by 9:30, 10 o'clock, this thing actually spills over after grabbing some of that lower time frame liquidity. I think even UJ is still messing around, isn't she? Yeah. Yeah, see how she's respecting my candle here? This demand.
Yeah, literally just going back and forth. A lot of uncertainty right now across the board. It seems like. Let's see. I mean, I do like that area that you were talking about with gold, though. Above 1800 levels. I do like that too.
25th Savage says, I see UJ been dropping since the 22nd. Forex Factory, there's PMI data and that fell below. Projections as well. Is that when you think investors caught on? To be honest with you, I'm kind of annoyed because as a rumor trader, I should have seen this stuff coming. Which is like really, again, like it's my own fault for not seeing it. I can't blame anybody but me. I can't blame the markets. But you said since the 22nd. What? July?
Probably when we found that high of the markets.
Yeah, over here.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
The obvious answer here is
the ultimate highs.
yes. Like, is that when you think investors caught on? The obvious answer is yes, because, and I wouldn't even say investors. You gotta call it like market movers, market makers, whatever you want to call it, right? The big money, which is what I use. Yeah, of course they've seen it leading on because they're the ones that develop the price action. They're the people that are not trading off technicals, but they're just trading off, sentiment and fundamentals, and then they create technicals by their actions.
That's a
So do
bar.
the big players know? Yeah. Like, if you need any proof, Abel, look up if you can, if it's not on me, it's probably on my trading view, which I'm not sharing. But let me see. Let me see if I can switch this over to.
Yeah, it's on your trading view right now is what we can see.
Yeah, let me see if I can switch this over real quick, family.
Hold on, you had said it. You had said a nugget, bro, that I don't want people to overlook. All right, you had said a very, very valuable gem when you were just talking about the data. When you were just talking about big boy money, right? You said that they make decisions based off the data, sentiment, fundamental data, and then they create the technicals with their price action, with their movements, right? Based on obviously how much money they put beyond the move. Can you just like reiterate that statement again? Because that is such a nugget that I think so many people have been overlooking, and that's pretty much what I've been trying to preach to everybody. Is just understanding that aspect.
Yeah, so I mean, like the idea that big money institutions, hedge funds, right, the liquidity providers sit here and like look at technicals and buy because this is support down here. That's not what's happening. It is they're leading the market, right? So you gotta understand institutions like let's just use JP Morgan as like the scapegoat example here. Right? There's obviously institutions that are much larger than JP Morgan, but they are again a substantial player. Right? They're not they're looking purely at data. Right? You gotta understand they literally spend millions, if not tens of millions or more, research and development, basically. Right? They hire people to look into the. They create their own economic outlook reports. Basically, the stuff that you guys use, that we use, right, that we read, they're already prepping that weeks and months in advance. So, again, they're rumor-based traders. They're not even fundamentally based because they're playing stuff before it comes out. Right? They see the data, they see energy prices dropping, so they suspect, again, that CPI and PPI and things like that will dip. So they're trading off of that, and when they enter the market, when they start doing stuff based off the data and rumors that they're seeing, that's when you start to get structure form. They are the people that provide the liquidity that forms support and resistances. They don't see this as resistance. They just see that as the price they enter because that's when their research began to tell them to get into the market. So a lot of these big players again are not in no way taking any sort of chart data into consideration. Even when you talk about institutions like stop hunting you, that's not what's happening. Trust me when I tell you the market does not specifically care to take you out. It's just that that's where they know the most money sits. Their goal is never to take you out. Trust me, they don't care about you. They care about other institutions. They're trying to take out other institutions. Yeah, man, the big money, again, they don't look at technical data in any sense. They look at market-leading data, they try to be ahead of it, and then they make judgments based off that, and that's when you get, areas of liquidity and supply and support resistance, because they're already in the market. That's not why they're in the market.
That's a gem. I know I was hearing like an echo on my end, so I'm pretty sure everybody else was. But hopefully you guys were able to actually get that, because that is some valuable information, family, that could really put you ahead of the game and just honestly put you probably in a much better position than 99% of traders out there. Because again, most traders out there are really not utilizing, at least most retail traders out there are not utilizing the data. And then they're trying to figure out why they're not seeing success, why they're not profitable, why their accuracy level is not at the level that it should be at. It's because they're absolutely missing out on a lot of important data that's really changing the flow of the market or things like that, right? So that's why it's very important, guys, just to really be up to date with data. It definitely does play a very big important role in these currency markets, and that's why we have to be up to par with these things, like, tremendously. All right, so let's see what the markets are doing, bro. What are the markets doing now? Let's see. I mean, UJ is still in the same exact area we've been in. Gold is really hasn't reached into that area yet. Yeah, we're just literally just going sideways, guys, in these markets. Even the indices, they ended up spiking up a little bit, but now they're starting to correct back down as well.
So this is interesting too, because I can't find the page that JP Morgan put it on. but I know that they said that they've been expecting disinflation, which is not the same apparently as deflation. So disinflation is what happens when price inflation slows down temporarily. So it might, again, this might be a one-off in CPI and PPI. It might be a 1-2 release one-off where inflation does continue higher. Because JP Morgan is using the word disinflation. They're not using the deflation word. Again, I have the screenshot on my phone. I just don't know where the source is. But apparently it's not widely spread.
Interesting. I mean, that's my general bias, to be honest with you. I'm thinking short-term dollar weakness for then it to continue, because I believe inflation is not under control just yet. All right, we've seen a little bit of a pullback, but I don't think that that's the high of inflation at all. My opinion. I think we're still much behind the curve there on inflation and handling it and dealing with it.
Yeah, and I think a big part of what will continue to send it higher, if at all, will be the China-Taiwan issue that people are seemingly forgetting that still exists.
That could definitely play a role, for sure.
Well, yeah, because I mean, think about it. If China does invade Taiwan, that is another major economy that we have to We have to sanction, right? We have to kick out of. So they're going to do the same thing they did to Russia, to China, if not arguably maybe even a little worse. If you can even believe that it can get worse. So again, with that issue looming over, and make no mistake, it's not really if China will invade Taiwan. It really, at this point, it is more of a matter of when. It is they are seemingly very much convinced that they are going to do it. They have their plan. They are testing stuff. They are most definitely getting ready. Taiwan also just shot down China's deal of that being a one country two system relationship over there. So I'm expecting that matter to get worse, and I believe that will definitely contribute to a continued rise in inflation and just overall, fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree, but yeah, these markets are not doing a damn thing, bro.
No, I mean, UJ still looks good for the buy, bro. I still think.
Think it's gonna rebound now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still holding on to a little bit here. So, I mean, for me, it has to take out this quick for me to exit. It could retest in here all it wants to do that. It could sit here all day and play with these lows until it takes this low. I'm in my trade. And again, like now, we're creating more structure that's kind of bullish. If you get back above this wick, you could probably comfortably trade, but you still want some sort of like a pullback. So, I don't know, man. I think the market is really just trying to lean off a little bit here. Do we have anything else this week on the news docket?
Anything
I know we had
major?
GBP out of the pound on Friday. But I don't think we have.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything
Yeah,
else other
no,
than that. Yeah, GDP for the pound. Yeah, that's pretty much the big one.
Yeah, so I mean that's the peak of the U.S. news. I wouldn't be surprised to see us lean off a little bit here at all. I think UJ at least back up into the 132.80 area is a high probability.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my people just in chat brought up a good point too. Mick said, just wait till summer ends and it's getting colder, then gas prices going through the roof again and inflation gonna rise even more, I think. That's a good point. Energy costs throughout the winter could absolutely continue up.
That is definitely a very valid point, especially since
Oil is already. I missed this trade. This was a beautiful trade that I missed. But
it's crazy to think about that too, because inflation is running crazy and rapid, and we still haven't even gotten to like a period in the year where we're consuming a lot of energy. Right? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ACs on and things like that, but
Summer travel too is a big part of it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting. But he definitely makes a valid point with that, though.
He's also overseas too, so he's also over there in the eurozone. Just as a frame of reference, it's a little different over there as well. Things have cooled off in the U.S., but things have not cooled off over there.
Interesting. Very,
But
very
actually, we get
interesting.
that Friday, don't we? Friday, there's a bunch of CPI out of the eurozone.
There's
Yeah, Spanish CPI, French CPI. Yeah, there's a bunch of CPI numbers for the eurozone too. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not. And again, like you wouldn't expect their CPI to be getting better because they haven't really done much with interest rates. To be fair.
no, they really haven't.
Yeah, they haven't even started. That's also another thing I warn my people about, and I think that your people should also know here on YouTube, is you guys need to think about this now as well. All right, with inflation starting to go down in the U.S., think about how other central banks are going to look at this. Right, central banks that are not acting but are suffering from inflation are again going to look at this as like, okay, this is working. This is working for them. Maybe we should follow the same path. So you might see other central banks begin to get a little bit more aggressive just because they see that it's working. Yeah, this thing choppy this morning. Choppy, choppy, choppy.
All right, we're back. We're back. We're back. My OBS like disconnected for like a minute. I don't know why.
Disconnected completely, like the live was down?
Yeah, like the complete live was down, but we're back though.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, either way, again, the markets aren't seeming like they're gonna do anything. We just got to be patient, and yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, don't look like much of anything that happened today, to be honest.
It really doesn't. All right. All right, so I'm about to go ahead and wrap this thing up, family. I do got to go ahead and just run some errands with the family. Just wanted to be able to come on here with you guys and pretty much just watch the release live, give you guys my thoughts and opinions. I'm glad that we were able to get Skaggs on here as well. We will definitely improve the quality of his microphone as we continue to do these, because I'm gonna actually start bringing on a few other of my trading buddies, right, that I know are actually doing this. I'm gonna have them on board as well, guys, to pretty much jump on here and be like guest, whatever you want to call them, on the stream, just so that we can go ahead and continue to provide you guys with massive value. And I just want you guys to pretty much know who I'm working with, so that you guys can also go ahead and pretty much work with them as well. You know, everybody that I'm working with directly, extremely knowledgeable. They know what they're doing, and they're getting to the bag trading. And I think that you guys can benefit from everybody that I'm working with for sure. All right, but overall, family, I do appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Skaggs, I appreciate you, my bro, for jumping on. We definitely got to go ahead and work on this microphone issue just so there's no issues at all. And yeah, I look forward to continue doing these joint sessions together with you and just with the team as a whole. I feel like it's going to be a vibe. So any last minute things, bro, you want to say?
No, man, just, shout out to you for having me. Everybody else that's on stream, thank you guys for tuning in with us today. Again, market is what it is. It's going to be a little choppy. This is the result of expected news. Hopefully you guys got at least one gem from us being on here. That's, what we strive for every single time. I know that Abel here and I'm on here as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the future.
Yeah, let's get it, fam. I appreciate y'all. I love you guys. I'm back live tonight, family. Back live tonight. And we're going to go ahead and really break down the gems, break down the sauce, break down the value tonight once again. Obviously, depending on how much volatility or volume goes out throughout the day, pretty much going to be very similar to what we talked about today. But overall, we'll deal with that tonight, guys, once we actually get on the session together. Right, but overall, I appreciate y'all. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys on tonight's session. And let's get it. Have a great rest of y'all.